Did you know by the end of February, St. Albert home prices were up 12.3%? Well, now you do, and you can find out a whole bunch more if you watch the rest of this video, because in this video, I'm going to be focused on the St. Albert real estate market using the most recent statistics available for the month of February. We're about halfway through March now, but looking back on the month of February can be really useful as well, just to see what happened in the St. Albert real estate market. So let's jump right into it. In St. Albert, here's the report. If you want, you can grab a copy of this report. I'll put a link in the description of the YouTube video. Just click on that link and you can look around in here as well. But as you can see, the average price of homes that sold in St. Albert in February was $482,636, which is up 12.32% from January 2022 and up 8.85% from February of last year. Here's the 13-month history. You can see how it sort of ebbs and flows each month. Obviously, since it's a smaller market, it's a lot more sensitive to individual sales. So that's part of the reason that you see sort of up and down, up and down. The 12.32% makes a nice headline, but I would not take that and automatically assume that your house went up 12% just because that's what happened in February. You need to look at more specifics, and that's something that I can help you with as well. If you want to reach out to me, you can reach me on my cell at 780-819-5508. You can either text me or call me, or you can email me at trevor@trevortardif.com. And of course, you can always book a time on my calendar at booktrevornow.com. You can just select a time on my calendar and then I will call you. So of course, I can give you way more specific guidance whether you're buying or selling in St. Albert if you reach out to me. This is a good overall view of kind of what's been happening in the market recently. So if we look at the average price trend, you can see that in 2021, St. Albert, the average prices were up 7.55% for the year. And so far in 2022, we're up 3.95%. That's just got 2 months of data so far, so it'll be important to watch that as things go on. It is a little bit more stable statistic looking at it from a yearly perspective. Since it's got a lot more sales data in there, you've got 12 months of homes selling, so you're gonna have a little bit more consistency, whereas on any given month, because it's a small market, like I mentioned, it's a little bit more sensitive to high-priced homes or low-priced homes messing up with the average. Now, if you compare that to Edmonton, you can see that Edmonton was up 6.25% last year, and so far up 3.34% this year. So St. Albert is actually outperforming Edmonton in terms of price gains on the average price. Now, if we look at active and sold listings for the city of St. Albert, at the end of February, we had 132 active listings and we'd had 98 sales throughout the month. So our number of actives is down 1.49% from January, so pretty much the same, and down 51.11% from February 2021. So that's a pretty big drop, basically lost half of our inventory from last year. And with the sales at 98 for the month, that's up 88% from January and up 4.26% from February 2021. So this stands out to me as a little bit different than what we've been seeing in Edmonton and some of the other surrounding communities. In most cases, the sales volume is significantly up this year compared to last year, but in St. Albert, it's only up a little bit. I think this is a good example of showing what can happen when you don't have enough inventory. If there's not enough inventory, yes, of course, that'll put upward pressure on prices and things will sell fast, but it does start to actually hurt your number of sales that happen when there's just not enough houses to buy that people want. If you look at this bar chart over here, you can see sort of the balance of inventory to sales volume for the last 13 months. And last year in February, when we had 94 sales, at the time we had 270 active listings by the end of the month. Whereas now we've got 4 more sales than we did last year, but we've got significantly less inventory, 132. So I think that lack of inventory is starting to constrain even the sales volume, because in all the other areas that we've looked at in Edmonton, Beaumont, Leduc, we'll be looking at Spruce Grove next and Fort Saskatchewan. It's not quite the same story. There's usually more sales volume, whereas right now there's just barely any more sales volume, and I think it's because there's not enough inventory. I think the demand is there. You can see last year in March, we jumped up to 151 sales when we still had about 300 active listings. And then in April, we jumped up to almost 200 sales when we had 320 active listings. So it was a robust market last year. Definitely a little bit more on the seller side last year, but it's a strong seller's market right now. And that's where we get into the listing absorption rate. So with those numbers of how many active and how many sold, that's how we calculate our listing absorption rate. So we're sitting at 74.24%. So the odds of selling have increased by 91% compared to January. And the odds of selling have increased by 113% compared to February of 2021. That's just looking at that balance of active and sold. When there's a lot of your listings just getting absorbed on a monthly basis, that's essentially what it's looking at. That the market as a whole, if we had no new listings, 74% of it would get absorbed in 1 month based on the sales volume. And this kind of just shows you how it's been over the last 13 months. But you can see last year we were sitting at 34%, so it's like basically doubled. And then March, we were at 50%, which is already seller's market territory last March. And then we hit 62% in April last year. So it was pretty strong last year. It got into seller's market territory and then kind of dipped down as we got into the summer months. It came back up in the fall, which was surprising. Then dropped for the winter months of December, January, and just shot right back up, surpassing the absorption rate for the last year, all throughout the last year. So that's pretty intense. With all that being said, we've now got a 43 average days on market in February, which was on par with exactly what it was like in January and pretty much the same as December. If we look at last year, it was at 61 days. So from a year over year perspective, it looks like a big improvement. But that month sort of stood out last year because you can see it in March, it dropped down to 39. And didn't get back up into 46 until November. So that's kind of what's been going on in the market overall in St. Albert. Let's look at just single family real quick. So single family homes in St. Albert, the average price in February was $557,762, which is actually up 17.11% from January. So that's a huge increase. Again, it's going to be influenced by what's selling. If there was not a lot of inventory for the lower priced homes, and maybe there was only stuff available in the higher price tiers, that can start to manipulate your average price. So take that with a grain of salt. Looking at the average price trend, so far it's saying single family homes are up 7.46% this year. We were up 6.21% last year. And this is what's interesting, and it shows you the difference between single family market and condominium market. So at the end of February, we had 64 active single family homes, but we had 76 sales. So that actually puts us at an absorption rate over 100%. If you've been watching some of my other videos, this is starting to look pretty familiar. 118% listing absorption rate, blew everything out of the water. We're redlining again. So of course, there's gonna be a lot of upward pressure on the prices of single family homes because we would be out of inventory if we didn't have any new listings in less than a month, essentially. So you can see here's just the balance over the last 13 months. April last year was pretty intense when we got up to a 92% absorption rate, but even last year in March at like almost 70%, those are all really strong sellers markets. And you can see the average days on market, 37 days for single family homes. So significantly lower. If we hop over to condos, this is where you'll see the other part of the market. That's actually putting a bit of a drag on the total numbers for St. Albert. The average price for a condo that sold in February in St. Albert was $223,109, which is technically down 12.89% from January. And January, you could see we were down 29%, but we were apparently up 30% in December. So those wacky numbers start to show you that, yeah, the average prices can really be manipulated, probably by some really expensive places that sold in December that were condos. And then that set January up to look like a colossal failure in terms of price drops. But that's just because of how wonky it is, especially when you're looking at less sales volume, because there was 22 sales in February. That's any given sale could have a big impact on your average price. But what I do want to point out here is how much different the absorption rate is for condos. So with 68 active at the end of February and 22 sales, we were sitting at an absorption rate of 32%. So that's not horrible, but it's not anywhere near as intense as the single family home market. So you could see when you combine the condos and the single family home market, it makes the overall market look pretty hot. But when you looked closer at the single family home market, you could see, wow, it's really hot, and that the condo market is not that hot by comparison. So the absorption rate has been going up for condos as well. Broke all the numbers that we got last year each month. And we're just in February, so this will probably get even higher once we get into March, depending on what happens with inventory levels. And the average days on market for condos was 65 days in February, which was actually technically an increase from January. Again, it's really sensitive to each individual property since there's less than 50 or less than 25 properties that are selling in a given month. So really sensitive there. But just the takeaway here is that if you're selling a condo, don't get your hopes up that, oh yes, I'm going to get multiple offers and the home's going to sell in one day and that kind of stuff. That could happen with a single family home if you price it properly and market it properly, which I can definitely help you with, but it's not the same thing for condos. So I hope that was a useful overview. Again, you can grab a link to look at this report yourself in the description. And if you want help buying or selling a home in St. Albert or Edmonton or any of the surrounding communities, make sure to give me a call. You can reach me at 780-819-5508. You can always email me at trevor@trevortardif.com or go to booktrevornow.com and select a time on my calendar. So hope this was useful. I am trying to get to 500 subscribers, so let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this video and you like getting some of the information on communities outside of Edmonton. And of course, hit that like button and subscribe so I can get to those 500 subscribers. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you on the next video.